Hello, Dirty Feet podcast listeners. This is Allison Burns with a quick message about the current status of Dirty Feet. The podcast is on hold as we restructure how we run the podcast. Of course, this takes a lot of work and a lot of people, and we're in a situation where we just need to kind of take a look at that and figure out what the next step is for the podcast. With that in mind, at this point, I would love to take a moment and just thank everyone who has donated time and energy and wisdom to this podcast. JD Papillon and Jen Doan were there with me at the founding of the podcast as co-hosts and co-producers. There was also Joanie Farrand, who lent her voice to the podcast for a little while and continued to translate our podcast descriptions for years after she moved on to Texas. I would also like to thank Katie Belanger, who's been in and out. There was also Stephanie Morin-Robert, who was a regular co-host for a while there and continues to send episodes from abroad during her travels. I'd also like to thank Linnea Giviazda and Tim Rodriguez, who have both stepped in as guest co-hosts over the years. And then, of course, Tristan Henry, who is our resident composer, who provided intros and outros to our episodes, as well as walking around music. Thanks, of course, to Paula Flalo, who is the founder of the No More Radio Network, who provided us with guidance, equipment, space, and technical support over the years, as well as the diffusion on his network, and for that matter, for No More Radio in general. And of course, thank you to the hundreds of guests that we've had on the show who have shared their wisdom with us and their insights. It's been a real pleasure to be able to get inside the process of different choreographers and also to hear about different initiatives and companies and the history of different interpreters' careers and things like that. It's been an absolute pleasure. And on that note, we have an archive of over 100 episodes featuring different topics and having often multiple guests in at once to discuss their work or initiative. And I highly recommend that in this downtime for Dirty Feet podcast, that you take the opportunity to comb through some of these archives. We've been very careful to record episodes that hold up over time. So even if we recorded an episode in preparation for a specific show, the content of the questions and answers really does speak to a timeless creative process. They're absolutely a pleasure to listen to any time of year. I would highly recommend looking through the descriptions on the About page. You can see the full list of podcasts. Picking something that strikes your fancy and give it a listen. I am very much inspired to move forward with the Dirty Feet podcast and to keep the discussion alive. The structure must change, and we're always looking for new people to help with the project. As I mentioned, this is a volunteer project that's been fueled by the enthusiasm and curiosity of the people participating. If you find that you have that curiosity and that enthusiasm and about 3 hours a week to put towards creating content, do send us an email at dirtyfeet@nomoreradio.com and become a part of the discussion. So that's all for now. Thank you for listening. Make sure to like our Dirty Feet podcast page and follow us on Twitter so that you can become aware when we release our next episode, which may not be for a little while. So keep that on your radar. All the best. Bye-bye.